For those that don't know, I was extremely addicted to weed. I was running to weed to escape my reality because, baby, you are the reason you are getting disappointed. It is not these men. It is not God. It is you, baby. I'm ready to do the work because I want to heal. Yes, I am listening and I am applying. And then we're going to talk about results. Do you ever think about like reconnecting with your mom? Do you feel like you've exhausted all of your tools to truly reconnect with her? No matter how old I am, it is not my responsibility to look after her. It is her responsibility to look after me. I am a grown woman that still has like this child that is just crying out, Mom. I said, my mom was my best friend. She said, She was never my best friend. I am the common denominator in all of these relationships. God, what is wrong with me? Roots are being pulled out. Roots that all of my life I accepted as my truth. I don't have a mama, I don't have a daddy to fall back on when it comes to stuff like that, when it comes to financials. And she said, but from what you told me, you know somebody greater than all of those people, right? I said, yes, but like God be taking his time sometimes and like, ooh. Hey Bookies, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Go to Therapy, Bookie, and get this healing. Y'all, I am so excited. Today is the first time in a very long time that I've come to therapy and I have not walked in with like a heavy heart. Like I have not walked in with a backpack of burdens that needed to be unpacked. Like I am good. This is the first time I just feel good and I am just genuinely, truly happy. And I love that for me. And it's crazy because I truly feel like I received a breakthrough last night. Like I had journaled about it and I had talked to my friend Chelsea about it. I need to go home and get my Bible. I need to get my Bible. There's so much I got to tell y'all. So anyway, the part that I journaled about and that I realized is last night I felt true peace. And it just made me think of y'all that was rocking with me back then. Y'all know that your girl was getting high every single day. For those that don't know, I was extremely addicted to weed. I don't care what people say. You can so have an addiction to weed. Anything that you are running to escape your reality, baby, is an addiction. I was running to weed to escape my reality because, baby, when I tell you, I understood what they meant when they said taking flights. I would get home and I'm like, take off in 3, 2, 1. I am in Jamaica. Okay. Anyway, that's not funny, but that's literally how it was. But I say all that to say is after I stopped smoking, the devil was trying so hard to convince me that there was no way that I would be able to experience that same type of peace sober. And like initially, like I already knew that it was a lie because I was like, I spent my whole life sober. I was never one to always smoke. I was never one to always drink and have a glass of wine every single night. And I was fine. So I knew that it was a lie. But because I had gotten so used to smoking weed and getting high and escaping my reality, I was starting to believe that this was my new norm and that this is just a new level to my adulthood where there's not going to be a way for me to experience peace unless I smoke. And that was my biggest worry, that once I stop smoking, I'm not going to be able to experience this type of peace. And I feel like I need this type of peace to get through life, right? I'll say all that to say, I knew that it was a lie. So as hard as it's been, every single day, I'll crave weed. I want to smoke. I'm like, we can't do it though. I got a conviction. I can't do it. I can't do it. For those of y'all that are new here, I'm not saying that smoking weed is bad. It was just bad for me because I made it an idol. I was running to weed before I was running to God. So every single day I was just denying my flesh. I know that you want to smoke. I know that you want to get high, but we can't do that because if you do that, the devil's going to be smiling over there, cheering in his corner. And is that what you want? No. So let's go over here and talk to the Lord. I know that you don't feel it working right now, but just trust that it is working and something is happening. Something is taking place. I don't know what happened. Last night I was just journaling. I had my little meditation music going and it hit me. I feel high right now. And then I had to correct myself. I'm like, you don't feel high. You feel peace. This is the peace of the Lord. And I was just like, wow. I literally just like sat my pen down and I was like, wow, it took you a while to get here, Kenzie, but I'm so thankful that you got here. It took you a while to get here, but I'm so thankful that you got here. And I think that's like the misconception when it comes to healing, and especially when you're healing with Christ, that you think that because you gave it to Christ, that you think it's just going to be like within the snap of a finger, you wake up and you're healed. Granted, that can be some people's story. However, a lot of people's stories, it's not like that. It takes work. So because I didn't wake up the next day, and because I gave up something that wasn't of Christ anyway, I expected it to just be poof, be gone. I did the right thing. No, it's still going to be a daily fight. So because I woke up and still had those urges, I could have chose to go the other way, but I chose the Lord. And to see that this entire time he was just working behind the scenes to get me here is wild. Now, I'm not saying like my urge to smoke is completely gone, but it's definitely like it's getting less and less and less and less and less. And I just love that for me. So anywho, I really don't know what we're going to talk about today. I have no idea, but we're gonna find out on the next episode of Jackie Bossy. Bye. So therapy is over. Usually I talk to you guys right after therapy, but I don't feel like I'm able to do that without bawling my eyes out. So I'm gonna drive home. I'm gonna get ready for the gym, and I will have to talk to you guys after. And it's crazy because I was like, there's nothing to cry about. That's a good therapist, because the way this girl knew what to do, we dug all up in them wounds. Yeah, she hit today. Anyway, we're about to go home. We're about to get changed. I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna catch y'all up later. Okay. All right, y'all. So I am back, and I am in a much better headspace to talk about how therapy went. So hopefully I remember everything. And it sucks because usually I go into therapy and I make sure to record everything. So if I want to listen to it back, but this happened like so quick, I forgot to record it. And I feel like this was one of the best ones. So hopefully I do remember everything, but I feel like I have issues sometimes articulating exactly how it is that she told me. But anywho, we're going to talk about it. So I was extremely emotional after I got out of therapy, which was crazy because y'all saw me. I went in there happy-go-lucky. I was like, we are good. That is a freaking good therapist, man. And that's what I'm talking about. Therapists are supposed to dig. Because when I told y'all, like, if y'all saw the first episode, I was talking about when I was with BetterHelp, that therapist was like, so what do you want to talk about today? And I would be like, nothing, I'm good. She'll be like, okay, well, I guess we're good. You have a great day. And I'm like, huh? Like, you're supposed to dig and find those wounds that I didn't know were still wounded, Bookie. So anywho, that's exactly what happened today. So we got in and we got right to it. She started asking me, first of all, she asked me how I was, and this time I didn't start bawling out crying, but I was like, girl, you would be so proud about me. We are getting so much more comfortable, and I love to see it. But I was like, you would be so proud about me, because the last time that we spoke, she said, when you're meeting men and you're going through this dating process, stop setting yourself up for failure. Stop setting yourself up to get disappointed every single time. You are the reason you are getting disappointed. It is not these men. It is not God. It is you for placing these high expectations on these strangers that you don't even know. She says, so instead of calling it dating, say that you are simply experiencing. I am not dating. I am experiencing this person. And so I had went in there and I was like, you would be so proud of me, because now I'm talking to a different guy. And I'm like, very level-headed about this. Like, even though I like him, I'm like, it's been a good experience. After every conversation we have, I'm like, that was a really nice experience. I like that. That was a good experience. So I was telling her how that was going, and she gave me a little applause and was like, give yourself a pat on the back, because I'm actually taking what she told me and I'm applying it. Because she's like, she has a lot of clients that will hear what she says. It goes in one ear and out the other, but they don't apply it. Baby, I'm ready to do the work because I want to heal. Okay, I'm trying to heal. So I'm like, yes, I am listening and I am applying. And then we're going to talk about results. Okay, I'm not joking. I am not joking. So that was really cool. And I really love that. I don't know if you would call that an analogy, but seriously, I am trying so hard every single time I meet a man, because I'm like those women. Every single time I meet a man and I like him, I'm like, oh my God, this is my time. My God, is this my husband? Is it time? Setting yourself up for failure, setting yourself up to be disappointed and crying and sliding down a wall. We don't got time. It's simply an experience. So we had talked about that, and I let her know about the new guy that I'm talking to, and everything like that. And then we went into, she asked me, and this was so crazy because I'm like, are we like having some telepathic energy or what? Because she said something about, do you ever think about like reconnecting with your mom? Do you feel like you've exhausted all of your tools to truly reconnect with her? And I said, it's funny that you say that because it's been on my heart to reach out to her again, because me and my friend were joking around, and I was like, this other man that I was talking to, I'm like, he is so lucky I don't know where he lived, because the way that I would have pulled up, because you tried it, but it's okay because we are saved from that life. We no longer do those things. I still have those thoughts, but we no longer act on those thoughts, okay? But when I had that thought, I was like, so you're willing to pull up on this man, but you won't pull up on your mom to make sure she's okay. But in that same thought, I was like, but listen, if that man slams the door in your face, that's going to be like an ouch, a little boo-boo. But if your mom slams the door in your face, that's definitely going to send you into a spiral, deep, dark depression. It's going to hit a lot different. So there is a difference there. So we had talked about that. And the biggest thing that she told me that is sticking with me and that I'm going to have to keep reminding myself is, no matter how old I am, it is not my responsibility to look after my mother. No matter how old I am, it is not my responsibility to look after her. It is her responsibility to look after me. Because I said something about, it's just crazy. I think I ended up like breaking down because I said, I just never imagined that I would be almost 30 years old and have no contact with my mother, whom I once called my best friend. And I freaking lost it, because like, I love my mom. I do not want to get crying again. I love my therapist because she reassured me that like I'm not crazy. She said, listen, that is like in our nature to cling to our mothers. She said she used to work in the foster care environment. She had foster kids that would have the perfect parents, the perfect home, and they would still have a longing to know who their parents were, still have a longing to be close to their birth parents, no matter how perfect their life was. So it was normal, because I'm like, I am a grown woman. I am a grown woman that still has like this child that is just crying out, Mom. And sometimes it gets just discouraging, because I'm like, will that part of me ever truly be healed? Can that part of me ever be healed? And if so, how? Because that is my mom. So that's just something that every single day I'm like, I don't know how God's going to do it, but I'm just going to continue to surrender that to you. That hurts. But when I was saying all of that and I said my mom was my best friend, this is the biggest part that broke me and had me in tears. I said my mom was my best friend. She said, When she said that, I knew exactly what she was going to say, and I just stopped. And I said, she was never my best friend. She was never my best friend. The way, I don't want to make it seem like my mom was a horrible person or that she treated me terribly, because that was not the case. But there was just many times where she didn't treat me the best. There was many times where she talked down on me. She talked crazy to me. It was just a lot of things that happened. And despite it all, that's my mama. So I loved her, and that was my rider. That was my best friend. I compartmentalized a lot of things. And she was like, that was not your best friend. And she said, now seeing how you're still referring to your mom as your best friend, it makes sense with the history of all of your other so-called best friends, because that's where you set the standard for what a best friend looks like. That blew my mind. She said that is where the standard was set of what a best friend looks like. I never would have thought about it like that. And she was like, the last best friend that I had that I've told you guys about, her and my mom moved in the same exact fashion. And she said, it all makes sense. And so it's like, I don't want to start this crying again, because I cried a lot. It was one of those things where it's just realizing that all my life I said my mom was my best friend. And I'm just now at 28 years old realizing that's not what a best friend is. That's not what a best friend is. That's not what a best friend is. And because all of my life, no matter how she treated me, I said that she was my best friend, I went out into this world and accepted bare minimum from women and thought it was normal and called them my best friend too, and allowed them to treat me like shit and called them my best friend and thought that that was normal and thought that that was okay. And it's wild because I remember when I was younger, and I say younger, just like a few years ago, I was always like, I'm a very self-aware person, and I'm like, I am the common denominator in all of these relationships. All of my friends leave. And so I'm like, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? Every single best friend that I have had has left me. And I'm like, God, what is wrong with me? Today, she helped me realize I was asking the wrong questions and my perspective was way off. She said, it's not even that there was something wrong with you, because if you can go down the list and say, was I a good friend? And if I wasn't the perfect friend, are you aware of the things that you could have done differently? Was I there when they needed me? If you can go off and check off certain things and you know that you showed up in the best way that you knew how, then that's all that you could do. I was asking the wrong question. She said, it's not always about what is wrong with you, but it is, why is it that you're tolerating the bare minimum from these people? What about you is attracting this toxic? I don't know how she explained it, but basically she was saying like, what about you is attracting these people where you're tolerating bullshit, basically? Why don't you feel worthy enough to receive more? She really just opened up my eyes with that, because I feel like that just answered a long-lived question. Like, for so long, I have wondered what was wrong with me, that I've lost all of my best friends. And I feel like today I truly realized, one, they were never your best friends. You never truly had a example of what a best friend looked like. You called your mother your best friend, who mistreated you a lot of the time. You didn't know what a best friend was. So one, they were never your best friends. Two, there was never anything wrong with you. Three, you just simply had to understand that you were worth more. It's wild seeing like the things that I like struggled with in the past to get answers to, and it's like all clicking now. It's like I want to go back and hug myself and say, Kenzie, it's not you. And say, Kenzie, it is not you. And it was even so bad to the point where like my toxic ex that I tell you guys about, he told me one day that he ran into that ex-best friend at the club. And he was like, I ran into her and I get why she's not your friend anymore. I get why she left you. And we were just basically talking about how I was the problem. So furthermore, just pushing me into the ground, and I'm truly trying to figure out what is wrong with me. And so there's just so much undoing that is happening, and I'm just so thankful. I'm feeling so free. I'm feeling like roots are being pulled out and thrown into the trash. Roots that all of my life I accepted as my truth, and I'm learning that it is not my truth. It is just junk that has left a foul odor. We're pulling it out and we're cleaning it up. So anyway, that was really heavy and that was a lot. Okay, so a week ago she gave us a journal prompt, and it was basically saying, are you living your life from your own choices, or are you living your life out of fear? And my answer immediately, I was like, I'm living my life out of fear. And she was like, okay, well, talk to me about that. And I was like, well, growing up, I don't feel like I lived in a very, I don't want to say a stable home, because I would say, excuse me, I feel like I lived a great life. But however, I did see my mom go temp job to temp job to temp job, and I felt like we were living check to check. I don't really feel like things came easy, but my mama always made it happen. But reflecting back, I know that my mama was stressed trying to figure out how she was going to make that happen. I don't know how she did it, but my mama always did it. My mama always did it. Like, I don't even understand how. I lacked nothing. Even so much to the point where she was leaving me money on the counter because I was a spoiled brat and wanted Pizza Hut for lunch. Girl, I wish my child would. The way I would be like, you better go take your little booty in that little cafeteria line with everybody else and slide your little cafe card. My mama, you see what I'm saying? Like, she made it happen and did the best that she could and then some. But I know that it was not easy, especially like looking back. So with all of that being said, because I feel like I witnessed that, I have like a whole issue with finances. And my biggest fear is not being financially stable. So I always said I'm going to find the best job and I'm going to stay there forever. Because in my mind, that's what stability means. And that's just the way to go. I'll never have to worry about anything. And so the job that I'm at now, I've been here for 6 years. And granted, I love my job. It's an amazing job. I love what I do. I am so thankful that I can even say that. I truly do love what I do. However, I do feel like if fear was not in the picture, I don't even think I would be in Oklahoma City. I told her I think I would be in Oregon in the wilderness, hiking trails at some corporate job. I would be in the Carolinas with somewhere on a beach. Like, if fear was not in the equation, who knows where I would be. But my fear from the financial trauma that I've witnessed and how strongly I'm gripping onto what I think is stability has crippled me to staying stagnant. And it was just really hard because I'm like, I don't understand the balance between not having fear and living YOLO. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, okay, say for instance, fear isn't in the picture, but now that feels like I'm like YOLO and I'm doing whatever. And I'm like, I understand that might be like two different extremes, but in my head, it's black or white. If I'm not living in fear, that means I'm just doing what the freak ever. And it always scares me because I'm like, I don't have nobody to fall back on. I can't call my mama or my daddy and be like, I'm late on my rent. Can you help me? I don't have a man to help me with that. I don't have family to help me if I'm down bad because of a choice that I made. So I'm like, I need to stay where I know it is permanent. My job don't be laying off people like that. My job don't be firing people like that. It is stable. And she is such a bomb therapist because I had told her prior to that, we were talking about God or something. And I was like, I don't have a mama, I don't have a daddy to fall back on when it comes to stuff like that, when it comes to financials. And she said, but from what you told me, you know somebody greater than all of those people, right? I said, yes, but like, God be taking his time sometimes. And like, oh, that was just so good. And so like, I know, and I'm slowly working on it. And I'm just remembering. So I talked about this in the vlog, but I'll speak about it briefly here. Sarah Jakes has a sermon called Made for This. And she just kept chanting how God says our main responsibility is to follow him and then he will make us. Follow him and then he will make us. Follow me and then I will heal you. Follow me and then I will give you peace. Follow me and then I will give you your creativity. Follow me and then I will do this. Seek first the kingdom and his righteousness and all else will be provided. Follow me. So literally in my head, I'm like, I don't care what you're stressed about, because the way that my brain operates, I'm like, okay, if I can't operate out of fear anymore, I got to have this whole to-do list on how we're going to do this. And now I'm stressed. And I'm like, we're throwing that whole to-do list out. Follow God. How do you follow God? Let's pray. Let's talk to him. Let's sit in his presence. Let's read his word. That's it. That is my main responsibility. And I am going to trust that as long as I do that, he is going to do what he needs to do inside of me, where my desires end up matching his desires, where my plan or his plan ends up becoming what it is that I want for myself. Like, that is how it is supposed to happen. And so my main focus right now, because before I get stressed out on, well, like, how am I going to do that? Do I need to quit? Do I need to? No. Relax and follow God. Silence, follow God. So, yeah, that's all I got, y'all. It was crazy because after that session, I came home, cried my eyes out, went to the gym. In the gym parking lot, called my best friend. She was just leaving the therapist. We have the same therapist. She's the one who recommended me to her. She's crying, I'm crying. I'm like, cheers to Black women getting healed. Cheers to Black women getting healed. Best friend, if you're watching this, I love you. It was so beautiful because we were supposed to hang out this weekend and earlier, because I just wanted to tell her about the breakthrough that I had last night with the Lord. And I was like, I cannot wait to talk about Jesus with you this weekend. And then I was like, whoa, how beautiful is that? Who am I? Because what? I used to say, I'm ready to go to the club this weekend. What you talking about? I can't wait to talk about Jesus with you this weekend. And then she was like, this is a friendship that I've prayed for. That's beautiful. I'm like, God is working. Whether you like to believe it or not, God is working. So, anywho, I love you guys so much. I know at the beginning of the vlog, we were talking about how I was giving up weed. Well, I gave up weed and all of those things. I told my therapist about that too. She gave me a round of applause. Keep it cute. Saved, not perfect. Can I show my love for you?